All right, go ahead.
Right, hey everyone, welcome in. This is Why Superman Sucks. Today we are here to break down Spider Man Brand New Day. We're going to throw some theories around. We're going to talk about the newest trailer that was dropped, maybe some thoughts on hints that could have been dropped here and there. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
You heard what I said. Worship the game, open your eyes. Learn the facts, then decide why Superman sucks. With Mitty and Raider B. Here we go.
I only just recently watched the newest trailer, and I don't think there's much to it. Um, but I know you had a question about a certain something, so let's start with that, and I'll walk you through what you missed.
Yeah, because I mean, like when I saw the previous one, they had the fight with Scorpion going on. It was like the average New York City street kind of thing, and then this new trailer, they've got another fight going on, but now we've got it's snow. They're in the snow and all this crap. And even that comment of oh, what was it? He calls him Scorpion. Said, "Oh, you think I'm Scorpion? I'm worse." You know, and I'm thinking that's linked to the whole mind control, whatever the hell's going on thing.
It very well could, but my thought is that this isn't even Scorpion.
Which I guess would make sense. They'd show him fighting him once and then fighting him again later. Different
Mm-hmm.
person, shapeshifter, fucking God knows 5,000 other
Yep.
things. It's like, yo, you think I'm Scorpion? No, I'm Scorpion Knox.
Yeah, no, because like sure the suit screams Scorpion, and maybe this is me doing one of my wild off the cuff theories. We all know that the guys from New Rockstar weren't the only ones screaming Mephisto every goddamn movie they threw out that even gave a hint to Mephisto. I was right there with them. Um, but there have been other suits that have been similar to Scorpion, but not donned the name Scorpion. For how they're advertising this movie, there's a very good chance that you're right, that this is mind controlled. I'm still not sold um, on Jean. However, Sadie
Yeah.
Sink is in this movie, and her role for the MCU and historically speaking, they stick they stick to the roles. When Marvel says you're in this movie and your character for the MCU is this character, you're this character. So there's a high chance we do have Jean Grey. But like for the run that this is kind of pulling from, Morlun makes more sense.
Oh, wait. Okay. Hold on. Say that name again.
Morlun,
Morlun. Morlun.
I,
Okay.
I might be mispronouncing their name, but for like the run that they're doing where Spider-Man is going through his changes, like the big bad is Morlun, who is one of the infamous spider hunters, right? Traveling through the different realities, hunting down the different Spider-Men and Spider-Women, and killing them and collecting their heads as trophies.
Well, and see, and that's, but what gets me is like the whole aspect in the new trailer where it is, um, literally you've got it doesn't work on you. You can sense it. You can tell things that is spoken to Peter. It's like, okay, so then what is it?
So the thing we need to take into consideration is what they've been leaning into with Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man is supposed to be more comic accurate than the rest of the people who play Spider-Man. And here's the thing: current Spider-Man, his spider sense is basically precognition. It doesn't just say there's danger nearby. So basically, how spider sense started was it was just, oh shit, you're in danger, but didn't kind of point to any direction. Just said, hey, look out, you're in trouble. And more often than not, in the animated series back in the 90s, the comic books when they first started out, the danger was always relatively close by, right, like imminent. Here it is. This is going to hit you. As time went on and his powers evolved and he evolved, it started telling him this direction, right? And now it more or less lets them know about the danger before the danger's there. And that's where a lot of versus stuff gets tough, right? That's why when we do our verses here on this channel, I clarify that we're putting everybody at their most powerful. Right? They cannot get any higher. They've hit the ceiling. And with Spider-Man, the reason he beats most street level or above people is because his spider sense is not just danger is here, here is the direction. No, it is now danger is coming, here's what it is, here's the direction that it is, dodge, 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 dodge. All right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, even going to that line in that new trailer, like that scene with the hand and the shuriken, you know, that's just kind of like one of those. Oh, okay, that's cool. So I think we are seeing him evolving in this one. So maybe getting to that level.
Yep, that's definitely what it feels like, and I'm excited for it. All those people who have been doubting me over the years about Spider-Man and the spider sense, and there's so much more we can go into with it. But screw you all. I'm gonna be right. Mark my words. This movie's gonna prove it. I'll fight you all in the comments.
Yeah, and definitely want to hear from you guys in the comments. Like, throw your ideas down, throw down what you think is we're going to see in this, because we are not that far away. You know, we're less than 2 weeks. We're going to be really curious to see how they take this. I'm curious how they're going to bring MJ and him back together, because I really think that's going to be part of this. I don't know if it's going to be breaking the spell or, brand new day kind of style, because I feel like that's literally why they named it that, because they're bringing that storyline in just without Mephisto, which yes, I would love to get that full aspect, but I don't think they'll take it that far.
They could. We have Mephisto in the MCU.
Yeah, he was introduced in Ironheart. We met him.
Ironheart, yes, Sacha Baron Cohen, whatever. Yeah. Really good actor. Did a great job. Exactly how I would, how I picture in my head Mephisto to at least interact. Looks, whatever. Don't care. He got the energy and the interaction right.
Well, I mean, and I look at it this way too. That's the human disguised version of Mephisto. That's not his full oomph that we got in the comics so many times.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting, because I mean, even in that new one where he's visiting May's grave again, and so I know they're gonna very much be pulling heavy on the him grieving and trying to move on, and grieving not just May but just everything that he gave up. It's going to be interesting, because I know we have the appearance from Banner and Hulk. That fight scene looks like it's going to be excellent, and it looks like he's going to be more part of this than what I originally thought. Punisher.
Well, you know what you're doing with him, right?
Well, I could tell they're doing the Professor Hulk scene. Well, maybe not, because he was Banner in this part, and then yeah.
So in the original run, right? We're talking from the original comics run. We're talking the original animated series run, because that all matters here if we're talking about originality. In the original run, Spider-Man is looking for Charles Xavier. He's not looking for Bruce Banner. He's not looking for Reed Richards. He's looking for the world's foremost expert on mutants and mutations, which
Yeah.
happens to be Charles Xavier in the X-Men. So Bruce here is just replacing Xavier, and it makes me, I don't know, make me mad. I know it does. It does. Because what a great way to first introduce mutants and the X-Men into the MCU officially. What a great way to do it would have been this way right here. where he
Yes,
gets
but
to the
no.
X-Men.
Because you'd have to have one for that area to be out there where Charles was, a forefront expert in mutants and mutation. You'd have to have that history. The X-Men would have already been known, mutants would have already been known, and they have, done, they did that whole protection thing for Marvel for the longest time where mutants, we never heard the word mutants, you know. So I think that causes that aspect of, well, if this has happened and he's this expert, how come where were all these people during Thanos and the Infinity Stones and all this stuff? Like, where were all these people?
The Ms. Marvel team, they mentioned that.
They talked about the Terrigen Mist.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because they didn't even refer to her as an Inhuman. She was referred to as a mutant.
I gotta go
That was
back and
the
watch
first time.
because I thought because when she was in the other country and getting the history lesson, the Inhuman aspect I thought came up.
There was a brief mention of a mist, but if you watch the very last episode all the way through to the end, she is referred to as having a mutation, not anything to do with the mist. And the Marvel, Kevin, however you pronounce his last name, even confirmed that she is a mutant, not an Inhuman.
Okay, I mean, and that's the thing too. They altered their powers for the show in the movies.
They did it in the comics too. Imagine.
Yeah. Best thing about it too is I remember, it's that weird one too. Like I try to remember her full history. There's been so many freaking people that have held the name Miss Marvel. I think it's been 4 at this point.
Yeah. A little more than that, but yeah.
Yeah, it was like Carol Danvers, the one that's Photon. Her then there was like the space Captain Marvel with the bands, with the quantum bands.
That was the first one.
Yeah, he was first, which is what I thought they were doing actually in that one in the Miss Marvel show because of the bands. I was like, oh, it's the quantum bands, they're tying it all together, and maybe
So cool.
that would have been amazing, but it's like kind of sort of no.
No, I don't know where close. But then you had the Kree, Marbeo, who was one of the Captain Marvels. Yeah, there was.
Well, see, and this is what's funny, because I know we branched out from Spider-Man to that, but this is where like so many of these stories are in New York. So, I mean, don't ask me why. Apparently, other than the West Coast Avengers, everybody likes to be in New York. But that's where,
Because there's a California squad.
yeah, as I said, the West Coast Avengers.
The West Coast Avengers were the Midwest. That's like literally they're all from like Ohio, Minnesota, Iowa, all that whole area represented with the West Coast.
Yeah, with the number of heroes residing in New York City, you just expect more than just what we've seen so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
I expect to see more than just Punisher and Hulk with this massive thing going on. And I don't know, there's a part of me that's like, maybe, we got in Daredevil, we saw Daredevil, we saw Jessica, we saw Luke, and Spider-Man always had that relation with the street level.
Mhm.
And so it's like, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for them to maybe not as a heavy point, but have some interaction that way, especially Daredevil. I mean, depending on the time frame it happens versus the show, of course. Because I guess this is all taking place after that last season of Daredevil Born Again.
Okay.
But
I've not looked at the time.
see, that's where I'm curious, because if that is the case, like if it is happening before Daredevil Born Again, then that would make sense. Fisk has not been mayor. All this shit has not happened. But if it's happening afterwards, where Fisk has already, done his stuff, the big confrontation between him and Daredevil and the way that ended, because it's almost like if it happens before, they could introduce Fisk into his world, because Fisk was one of his villains.
One of his big ones, actually.
Yeah, and we've like avoided that. And if all this Daredevil Born Again stuff has happened, then how do we tie that in? Because I want to see that, to be honest. I want Kingpin in Spider-Man's world, because there's also that whole affiliation with J. Jonah Jameson and Kingpin and Scorpion and other characters.
There is one thing I want. If we get Kingpin and Spider-Man, there's only one thing I want. You can mess it up all you want, all day long. All right, don't care how you do it. Don't care how you do it. But this one scene, I want this one scene, and it has to be done right. The problem is, I don't know how they're going to do it with them already killing off this Peter's Aunt May. But that is when Kingpin has Aunt May put in the hospital, and Peter shows up as Peter Parker, walks into Kingpin's office, says, "If you ever touch my family again, Peter Parker will drown you with his own web fluid." Peter Parker, not Spider.
Yeah, no, that's
I want that scene.
yeah, and I mean, there's just so much that you can play off of too, like all the stuff Kingpin was involved in that affected Spider-Man. All the you go through, especially the late 80s, 90s, War of the Rose, the whole shit with Kingpin's son. That was a big thing within Spider-Man. Yeah, so he could be an important factor. So I'd love to see that introduction take place. I mean, we saw it in Across the Spider-Verse. No, the one before that. The other
Spider-Verse?
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Because we saw Kingpin in that one. So, like I said, it'll be interesting what they do, because especially if you got Scorpion in there already and Kingpin's affiliation with some of that stuff, there at least needs to be a reference. Give me at least that. Give me at least a reference.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this one is really going to be focused on Peter evolving into what the next stage is supposed to be. I highly doubt we even see. I don't think we will see four-armed Peter, just because. And this is probably biased, me being irritated that we're not getting the X-Men run that we could have got, like the introduction into the X-Men, which I feel like is important to the storyline. But we don't have that. So we don't have a leading expert on mutation, so to speak. We have a leading expert on how gamma affects your body.
I mean, technically, it's a gamma mutation.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting there, which I guess technically, it fits. But again, this is probably this is the most biased you'll probably ever hear me ever on any video. I have the one run for Spider-Man where he's dealing with this mutation that I know. I love that run. It's a perfect run. They didn't need to make the others.
Mm-mm.
But maybe I'll be impressed. But I really don't think we'll see the four-armed Spider-Man. I think there would be too much explanation that would need to go on for the casual viewer to watch that and be like, "Oh, okay, I get this. This makes sense."
Yeah, but I mean, so the forearm aspect, because I have the issue where that happens. He took a way to try to get rid of his powers. He tried to get rid of his powers, took the cure he'd come up with, and it backfired, and it mutated him. So, and that's the thing. I don't know are they going that route? Are they going him trying to get rid of his thing? Because right now, from everything we see in the previews, it definitely seems he's at home with his powers. He's at home at what he's doing. In fact, him helping people is kind of one of the few things he has left.
Yep.
Yeah, I gave up my friends, my family, everybody that cared for me because who I am as Spider-Man has to be a secret. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't see him just going, and now I'm going to try to give that up.
Yeah. No. No. There's still that scene where he's jumping through the air towards the hand, and the hand is jumping at him, and they still have not revealed the other two sides, and the spacing is too specific.
Yeah, I how the hand's going to play into this too. That's
Well, so here's a couple of routes we could go because it's the hand, and only a select group of people ever really truly deal with the hand. And Spider-Man is not one of those people that, if ever, deals with the hand. That's more of like we could get Daredevil, we could get Elektra, we could get um
Iron Fist. I mean, he did
not.
not as much, but there was some.
I mean, if they wanted to get weird with it, they kind of gave Bullseye a redemption arc. But that'd be such a left field pull.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because there was a couple.
But most of the people that have dealt with the hand have also dealt with stick to some degree, right? There's kind of the correlation. And Peter never, to my knowledge, to my personal knowledge, Peter never had any real dealings with the hand nor with stick.
Yeah, no, I mean not without the others. Main storylines were like the Shadowland one in 2010, when the hand was like setting up their castle in Hell's Kitchen, basically the fortress. But that was Spider-Man joining with Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Moon Knight, and Punisher. And that was also they were fighting kind of against Daredevil because there was weird shit there. Um, there was a Mega Effect in 2012, but that was again
That
Daredevil and
was
Punisher.
Shadowlands is when Daredevil actually got his devil ability that he had for a short time.
Yeah, that was when he was getting a hell of a lot more brutal too. That's why they were kind of opposition to him. But yeah, I mean that's really other than a couple other ones I can think of from the 90s. But again, that was more of a Daredevil. I mean, because they've really always been heavy on the Daredevil side because of Sticks.
Wouldn't that be something? This is like their way of bringing fucking Moon Knight back in.
Now that would be interesting because you could bring Moon Knight back in. Definitely could bring Daredevil in. You could actually bring us Elektra in this.
They've given us a new Elektra.
So that could maybe that's what we're missing. Maybe that's part of that thing. Maybe it's Elektra.
It just feels like too many hands in the cookie jar for how they're setting this story up, right?
But if this is going to does this flow direct? Because the other thing too is this is going to set up not only probably the next Spider-Man movie, but this has got to be setting up Doomsday because it's the only film we have between now and Doomsday.
Right. And that's such a God. There's like it's so huge what they're trying to do. But it's the Russo brothers. Well, not this movie, but what we're leading up to is stuff that the Russo brothers have their hands in. And in my opinion, one of the biggest flaws with Infinity War and Endgame was just how many bad guys there was to fight. The only saving grace here is it's not abnormal for Spider-Man have multiple enemies that he fights in either a panel or in an episode, right?
Oh yeah, like Sinister Six and all that, even though he a lot of times wanted with backup for that, but there were several times where he didn't, and it was just him versus the Six.
So
I say it'll be interesting because it's going to have to feed in. I mean, it has to. The question is, if it is Morlun, and we're talking interdimensional, is that going to bridge in as well for getting the Fantastic Four involved and the X-Men coming over. Like, is this going to be what cracks the wall between dimensions and we start seeing people filter over? Is it, which really, if they were going to do that, you figure that would have been the last damn film with everything that happened. But
The Fantastic Four.
no, what was it? No Way Home.
Oh yeah, the other Spider-Man. Yeah.
Yeah, where we brought the other two over. Like, where was they could have put a great end credit scene there instead of the whole Venom thing of just like, you know, some other character coming over. Hell, they could have given us Wolverine at that point.
Yeah. I mean, but at that point, it's like a dynamic: Wolverine and Spider-Man, or Wolverine and the Punisher.
Yeah, it's true.
Or you do the forever. I don't care what anyone says. That's an intimate relationship. Deadpool and Spider.
Yes, and we still want to see that. And in fact, we should see them together in these next couple movies if some of the rumors hold true. How that interaction goes, and if it's the start of it or they just fall into the routine, that'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but that's the thing. I feel like this movie has so much riding on it because it's not just, you have to tell a good Spider-Man story and you have to have a good plot line. This has got, you have to lead into your next movie from this in a way that we're not sitting there going, no, you fucking didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, this cannot flop. This cannot flop.
So since we are, like I said, recording this before, remember folks, I know I've been to the theaters. I've watched y'all do it. The end credits start rolling. You get that one little scene and sometimes y'all walk out. Sometimes there's more than one. There's more than one sometimes.
Yeah. Keep an eye out. Be patient. Oh, it's a Marvel movie. Always be patient. Unless you have kids, and then I get it. Get up, and keep an eye out here, because if there is one or two, we'll break it down here for you guys.
Yeah, and we were talking before we started recording, and I did mention I think we're going to finally see that big Doomsday trailer, probably when this movie comes out. Like it's going to be before the movie. Now that I am thinking about it, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything in that trailer that relates to what's going on in Spider-Man could give something away they don't want to give. So we might have to, maybe it'll be a couple weeks after. Maybe it'll be a month after Spider-Man's out that we'll get that trailer. Hopefully we won't have to wait that long. I really want to see that trailer before the end of September for Doomsday.
If they're smart, hear me out. If they're smart, they give us nothing.
I don't think they have to at this point.
Yeah, no. At this point, if they're smart, we get no trailer, no teasers, no nothing. Nothing. Make us wait till the movie.
That would be the most interesting marketing fucking plan ever.
It would work.
Yeah, just because think about it. They posted the green of the the part of the image that was the Latvia flag on social media, and then like for fucking 3 weeks, everybody just kept talking about it. Like Marvel's in that fun position where really let's just put this out on Twitter or Meta or something, and just the word's going to travel, and that's all the marketing we need.
Yep, 100%. 100%. They are in a good spot right now. They don't need to do much. As a matter of fact, I truly believe the more they do, the worse it'll be.
Yeah.
Because trailers have a really bad habit of picking all the big important parts of the movie and being like, here's a teaser of that. Stop that. Don't do that. Leave it alone. Sometimes it's better to leave us on the edge of our seats. Like, do stuff like that. Like throw the Latveria flag out. Give us just a corner of Doom's mask with just little, like, teasing is hot. Okay, Marvel? Just tease us.
No, that is the way it's got to. It would play out best, and I would. Either way, I'm excited for Brand New Day. I'm excited for, Doomsday and everything to come after it. It's just, yeah, I'm kind of at that point of, please don't fuck this up.
Yeah, well, I have high hopes because Tom is slated for I think at least another movie or two, and there have been two sets of conversations that have happened. One, we will not see a live action Miles Morales movie at all until after the animated stuff is done, right?
Okay.
And then there have also been talks where Tom has been like wants to usher in either a Spider Gwen, or a Miles Morales. Like he wants to do for the next person what RDJ did for him, which would be a huge money making move uh, for Marvel to do. So there have been two sets of talks, and they're both really cool. And you don't have these kinds of talks unless you know for sure that you've locked in a successful movie. Because if this movie even had a remote chance of failing, like that'd be it. It'd be done for Tom. They'd be moving on.
Yeah, because we've seen that they've got no issues replacing people.
And it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Whether or not the replacement is a good replacement is neither here nor there. It's a matter of fact that there are some situations that you have to call an audible. All right. And let's just rip the band aid off with it. Kang, it was a good call. A good call to switch up. Kang is someone that you can bring back anytime you want. He could be anyone you want him to be disguised as. That's just how Kang works. And I feel like the switch from a Kang storyline to a Battle World storyline and just doing a reset for the MCU is good. It's healthy for Marvel. They've kind of run their course with the direction that they were going, and they need to switch it up and give us something new. This is a good way to do that. It's actually funny because Marvel in the comics, whenever they write themselves into a corner, or like the storyline has finished itself and they're fumbling the ball trying to figure out what's next, they do something like this, a multiverse
Yeah.
way that normally involves Doctor Doom or Franklin Richards. So
Yeah.
it works. Or that one time it was Genesis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little side story here because if you don't know about him, he's an obscure, like a mutant or something like that. His ability was that he could explode once. Uh, just that the explosion is powerful enough to reset the timeline, so to speak. And I believe, if I remember correctly, his name is Genesis.
That was a see here. There were two. There were two that had that name in Marvel. One of those was Tyler Dayspring.
Can't remember his regular name. I know the code name was Genesis, and he essentially ends up sacrificing himself to save like all of reality. I don't remember what the big fight was. God, off the top of my head.
I don't know. I just had to laugh though, because how many times does somebody exploding seem to save the multiverse or timeline? DC Zero. But yeah, so we can wrap this one up. Definitely, we want your comments in below. We want your take. Got any specific questions you want answered, Mitty?
Did I what? Sorry.
Well, we want their take in the comments. Any questions you want to specifically ask to get them to
You guys tell me what your preferred outcome for this movie is. And I want to know why it's wrong. I'm gonna be the villain in this video. All right. That's what I want.
All right. And to make sure that you get more videos like this and also get alert to our lives, remember, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get alerted. You can also visit whysupermansucks.com and check out the community here. I know right now we are trying to find out what our next versus is going to be. So we definitely would love to hear from you on that before I have to
Yeah, I
prove it
mean,
is wrong again.
you, okay, okay, buddy, okay. Just a reminder, we hit the like goal on the live video. So on any video, I don't care which one of ours you go to, go comment on there your idea for a versus and put next to it if you would like to be chosen to be a guest judge on the next live versus that we do. I put a community post up with a time limit on it. Ignore that time limit. Just make sure you're commenting. And there's always going to be someone there. Normally it's me because I can't stop myself from checking up on the videos. So interact with me.
All right. So until next time, we will see you then.
See you, wieners.